the moment we start tapping into that and really channeling everything into the vision and bringing it to life and making this next level boat moves, because to bring about vision to life, it always requires next level boat moves. The bigger the vision, the bigger the move to make it become a reality. And that's why most people just get scared and, stop chasing them.
Hey you, Brooke Jean here with Brooke Jean Unperfected. I'm a licensed professional counselor, coach, mama, and your keep it real guide to the freedom that's available to you in a life unperfected. If you're a high achieving, perfectionistic, often anxious woman feeling stuck, frozen, and maybe even downright frustrated, you're in the right place. If you're anything like me, you've done everything society told you to do that would promise you success. You've got the job, you've got the husband, you've got the car, you've got the vacations, you've got the 401k, and yet underneath it all, when you're really honest with yourself, you're deeply disconnected and unfulfilled. Here is where we talk about letting go of who you think you're supposed to be so that you can get busy creating a life that you actually love. Everything healing, revealing, and rising is on the table. And we don't hold anything back around here. So buckle up, babe, because you are entering a vortex of your most juicy transformation. One where we dethrone perfectionism so you can access more energy, creativity, and vitality. I am so happy and grateful that you are here. Well, hello, Mama. I am so happy and grateful you are here. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod. I'm Brooke Jean, your host, and I am so excited about this week's episode. Before I get into the introduction of Miss Simona, I wanted to let you guys know that I've started recording content for Social Goats. Okay, so in the last podcast episode, I alluded to this very big and very fun project that I have going on where I am going to be putting a ton of my work, okay? Special trainings, meditations, guided visualizations, programs, all of the things I'm going to be putting on socialgoats.com, and you will get the chance to access all my material for just $19.95 a month. So I am in process of uploading a ton of amazing content. I just did a training on how to find your authentic voice. I have also done a training on what to do when you get triggered by your children, particularly around envy. So basically, I'm just going to be recording a ton of mini trainings and putting them up on socialgoats.com. As soon as I have the link, as soon as the platform is live, it might be live by the time this launches. I will put that link in the show notes. You can go to socialgoats.com. For $19.95, you can be a subscriber and you can access all of my material and every other creator's material. And it's one of those platforms where you can also become a content creator. You can become an affiliate to grow the platform, and you can even make money as a subscriber. So a ton more to come. I am just so excited to have a place where I can drop all of my content for people at a very affordable price point. So if you've been wanting to work with Megan or I, but it's just wasn't the right time for one-to-one or the mastermind or a retreat or Unstuck and Unstoppable, this is going to be an extraordinary and beautiful opportunity for you. So be looking out for that. I am having so much fun creating these trainings. I just have ideas that are flowing through me like till the cows come home. So I'm very excited to tell you guys more as that continues to unfold. But let's get into this week's episode, you guys, which was with my girl, Simona Vateva. She is a luxury business strategist and founder of Visionaire Atelier. Her mission is to help bold, visionary women transform their brands into timeless luxury experiences. She specializes in turning every touch point of the customer journey into an artistry-infused moment that captivates, delights, and leaves a lasting legacy. She's passionate about empowering women to elevate their business beyond trends, crafting brands that inspire, seduce, and stand the test of time. Through her unique approach to dream marketing and visionary strategy, she helps entrepreneurs create legacies that truly redefine what's possible. You guys, I love this conversation that I had with Simona. We talked about what luxury actually means, and it might surprise you. It's not the first thing that you would think about. We talk about what it means to be a woman with a big dream, how to be a visionary. We talked about what she believes burnout actually is, which is not just that we're doing too much, it's that we're out of alignment, and so much more. I absolutely loved this conversation. I love what she's helping women do, which is elevate their brands, elevate their message, elevate their movements. And so let's get into it. I hope you enjoy. Well, welcome back, mamas. I am so happy and grateful that you're here. And I am just thrilled to be having a conversation about something we as women all need so much more of: luxury. So, my girl, Simona Vateva, welcome to the show.
Hello, my love. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. Will you tell the beautiful listener where you are in the world right now? Because we're in totally different time zones and spaces and places.
Yeah, we are. I'm based in Leeds, UK. I've been here for the last 10 years, but before that, I grew up in Italy. I was born in Bulgaria. So I've traveled a lot and I've collected quite a lot of different accents along the way.
Well, I'm liking the one that you're vibing right now. Wait, so have you been to the United States?
I have been, yes. I visited Vegas, San Francisco. We actually made my first daughter in Las Vegas. So apparently, not everything that happens in Vegas stay in Vegas.
Ah!
But
Wait, did you say you had your first daughter?
no, we made her there.
We
But
made
that's
her.
we made her there. Yeah, she's a souvenir we brought back home.
Oh my God, that is epic. That is so epic. That does go down in Vegas, baby. You did it right.
Yeah. So now
All
we are
right.
connected forever.
I love it. I love it. So tell the beautiful listeners a little bit about what you do and your journey to that, because in the journey to that is probably much of your story, which is really what everybody wants to know more about. So wherever you want to begin, let's go.
Yeah. So my journey started like I was that weird child who always knew I wanted to be a CEO. When we were like 10 and people would ask us, what do you want to do when you grow up? My answer was always be a CEO. And
Really? How
yeah,
did you even know what
I
that
was
was? Wait, how did you know what a CEO was?
I guess I saw my dad. My dad's always been an entrepreneur, and I just loved watching him sit on his desk and just look like important and busy. So I feel like I was just born with that vision. I always knew, and I've always followed that path. I was probably about 10, 11 when I started reading books around personal development and marketing, like, how to influence people, win friends, all that type of books. And a lot of the books I read through my teenage years, we ended up reading in my master's in marketing. So I was like, oh yeah, I read this book when I was like 14 in
Oh
my
my
free time.
gosh.
So
Wow.
yeah, I feel like I have always been a nerd about marketing. I always loved things around how the mind works, how some brands manage to influence our behavior. And so I ended up following that path through university. I did my bachelor in business and I did a master's in marketing and consumer behavior. So I wanted to
Mhm.
understand the psychological factors even deeper, and I ended up graduating with honors in the top 1% of the whole university in that course. And then my career opened up really fast. I ended up getting a job in London for some of the biggest FMCG in the industry. And I've worked for the best, I learned from the best, and I was so passionate about this. It felt like, that was my mission, that was my vision, until the point where we found out I was pregnant and I was made redundant. And so I lost the job. I have been in the UK at that point for probably less than 2 years. So it wasn't a great point to start looking for a different career, different job. So that was the moment when I decided that it was go time and I was going to take all this knowledge, all this experience I have accumulated to that point and really build something of my own, build a company of my own, or at least give it a go and see how that goes. So at that point, the only thing I had to my name here in the UK was a car, which my dad bought me for my 18th birthday. It was an orange cross polo. It was like very famous because it followed me through my journeys from Italy to Bulgaria to the UK. So in my companies where I worked, and all my friends were like always laughing about this car because you couldn't miss it. You could see me from far away. So I ended up selling the car for something around £6,000. And then I
Mm-hmm.
invested that in my first product business, which ended up being a huge success. I ended up growing that to past £500,000 in less than 4 years. It ended up opening some incredible opportunities for me, working and consulting as a growth strategist for some huge e-commerce brands. I think we generated over 20 million in revenue for clients in less than 2 years when I was working as a consultant. And then I found out we were pregnant again with my second one. And that's when I felt like it was another, you know, like a deep moment of finding your truth all over again. It felt like everything up until that point made sense and then suddenly no longer made sense. So it was time to like pivot and find a deeper purpose. And that's when I thought the next step for me, the next big pivot was to take everything I've built until this point and bring it into the coaching space and really help women how to build incredible, powerful, successful, profitable brands. And
Mm-hmm.
it was everything based on the principles I learned through working with other incredible brands and the principle I applied to build my own brand. And so it felt like a no brainer, right? Everything was tested, everything was proven. I've seen the incredible success and how fast it works. And then I've seen this space of incredible women, coaches, healers who had these incredible gifts, but not necessarily had the knowledge and the foundation of actually building a business and making it profitable. So I felt like this was the perfect fit. But within the first year, I felt like it wasn't the same way as applying, traditional principles, traditional marketing onto humans with dreams, with visions, with ambitions, with, human traits and desires and flaws as well. And like the human side of it, we're not just perfect products like a product business is. You don't get to describe what you do in the space of 200 characters the same way as you can describe a product and like send it on the internet and like watch it sell and watch it bank. Then suddenly I start realizing that it just didn't translate the same way. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt like something was missing, but I couldn't figure it out exactly what until one day. I think we're both part of the same group. There was this coaching program with a very famous mentor of ours. And coaching at that point was not something I was, it wasn't a goal of mine, but I'm always open for new tools, adding new tools to my toolbox and serving better and leading better in my own life as well. So why not? I was really willing to play full and just see how I can translate that into my own business. And so I had this coaching experience exchange with another woman in the group, and she's a very powerful healer. She transcends body trauma and she takes you through the body. She works with the body wisdom and she just frees you from the trauma. And at that point, I have never experienced that type of work personally on me. So it was incredible to witness the work on my own body. I was not necessarily skeptical, but it was something I haven't experienced before. So it was like, okay, let's see how that goes. And by the
Mm-hmm.
end of that one session, I was blown away. I was crying. I was like laughing. It was like a very unique experience. And so the next time, then we had the exchange, and I was the one who was applying the coaching with my messaging structures, with my business and marketing structures as well. So it was like a strange combination, but we were like playing all in. And then
Yeah.
she came on, and I remember she said, I'm going to be honest, I'm very skeptical about this. I've worked with other business coaches, messaging experts, and this just never worked on me. It feels very soul killing trying to put what I do into a message, trying to apply these templates and these rules, frameworks into what I do. So I'm open to play with you, but I'm very skeptical about the outcome. And so I looked down
Wow.
and I remember I had a full page of questions how to take her down on my framework of niching down, working on her messaging and what she does, how to position her. And so I instantly knew that's not going to work. And I I remember throwing the whole notebook in the bin under my desk and being like, okay, this was like a free exchange. Like the worst that can happen is I literally am out of my depth. I don't know what to do, but that's fine. So I was like, let's play. There was complete permission slip of experimenting and going free ride on this. And so I
Yeah.
remember I just for a second I forgot everything. I tried to forget everything I know about how to do marketing and business and be really open minded and use all these new tools on coaching and understanding and diving really deep to try and help her in a different way that I've never done before. And I remember we had probably 90 minutes together, and I was just basically listening and questioning and getting deeper into everything that she wanted to say. And by the end of it, we crafted this custom made strategy that I remember she was like almost crying. She was like, I have never felt like a business strategy feeling like really custom made for me. And one of the things she said is like, the moment I start trying to put what I do into words so I can write a post, it feels like it kills my creativity. When I'm most creative is when I dance around and I paint my pictures and I'm just free dancing in a beautiful dress and then I write poetry and that's how I express my work. And so I remember I was like, okay, so how about we do that as a strategy? And then we ended up crafting this strategy basically on all the things that she expressed that make her feel alive and make her feel really tapped into her passion, into her vision, into her craft. And then
Mm.
we tailored that strategy to make sense how to grow her business.
Mm-hmm.
And and I remember I felt like this is something I have never tapped into before, but it felt so powerful. And that woman felt like she could cry. She was like, I've worked with so many high ticket business coaches, and it never felt like it belonged to me. Whatever they taught
Mm.
me, it just never belonged to me. And
Mm.
so, in hindsight, that was the moment where everything changed for me and everything led to me now opening Visionaire Atelier, which is the ultimate soul calling for me and where I'm taking everything that I do, life, business, everything. In hindsight, that was the moment where I found out that everything I did until that point no longer fitted. Overnight, it was like a small dress that no longer fitted your body, your shapes, your unique way of being.
Mm. Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff in that. Number one, how each baby kickstarted a pivot. And I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. Like having a baby is a spiritual awakening, right? It is like an expansive opportunity of like, well, who am I now? Who am I now? The other thing that I love about you, your work, is that you are growing and evolving at the same time as your business and brand are. And I want to normalize that. Like, that's what we are here to do as the best entrepreneurs. And I love that you're like all these frameworks that we've learned that help us with our marketing and our messaging and our branding. Let's set those aside and let's see what organically emerges in the relationship with soul to soul creative like exchange. What's here now? How would you actually describe what the heck that is? Do you know what I'm saying, what I'm getting at? Because it sounds like you put your notes aside and you dropped into soul and you used your intuition and your feminine energy and you were able to draw out of her like core pieces to who she is, which then informed her own way of marketing and branding her business. How do you put to words what that is now?
Yeah, that's such a beautiful question. The way I look at this is I believe we all have a vision. We're all born with one bold, big, unique dream of ours, of our own, this big, bold vision. But the reality is that a very few of us ever have the courage, the devotion, the determination to actually realize this vision and to bring it into reality. And so this is everything that I do now, like helping visionary women really tap into their highest vision, the vision that they're born with, this unique soul calling that every single one of us know that we're here to build something big, we're here to make some huge change, but we don't often listen to it because we just get in our own way. We start to rationalize things and we start to listening to other people's and to the noise out there into the best ways to do certain things and all the cookie cutters strategies and frameworks and templates, and we start losing that connection to this source of vision that we have. But the thing is that when we really tap into this bold vision and we start operating out of pure alignment and desire and really focusing on the things that make us feel alive, that make us feel like this is everything that I came here for. The moment we start tapping into that and really channeling everything into the vision and bringing it to life and making this next level bold moves, because to bring about vision to life, it always requires next level bold moves. The bigger the vision, the bigger the move to make it become a reality. And that's why most people just get scared and, stop
And
chasing it.
sabotage.
Exactly.
And
And sabotage.
sabotage. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So the way I see it is like when we really tap into that and we start operating at this new level through this completely new lens of following the heart desire, the soul calling, and really taking the big steps. Basically it's like a concept of 10x everything you do in order to realize this big vision, going big on the actions you take, going really big on the person you become, so then you can hold this big vision, so then you can realize this big vision, really stepping into this leadership, into this artistry, into our role, seeing ourselves and the way we show up as a business leader, the way we show up as a brand online, rather than just a commodity, which is what commonly is out there. Incredible visionary women trying to apply commodity marketing onto themselves. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. Or even if it works, it just feels like it sucks the joy out of your soul. It feels like it sucks the whole creativity, it sucks the whole purpose, and it feels stuck. It feels like stagnated. And eventually that leads to feeling like burnout. And I have a very interesting take on burnout. I feel like because I have been through it multiple times and I have come out on the other side multiple times, I see it as basically being out of alignment. When we try to operate out of a way of how things should be, what we think we should do, what makes sense, what are the offers that we think sell the most, what are the clients that we think buy the most or pay the highest price, we start operating out of should and out of need. And that's what basically drains the passion out of our heart, what disconnects us from this vision, from this soul calling that we have. And in the opposite, when we really tapped into it and we operate of pure desire, we work with the people we enjoy working with and we would spend time with, even if they weren't paying us. We choose our clients, we choose how to spend our time, we choose the offers we create. We become incredibly mindful and incredibly intentional with everything we do and how we show up and how we operate, both in life and in business and in relationship. That's when we start really self-filling our cup continuously. We're so tapped. Everything we do brings us so much joy, so much life, that it just becomes like a recipe for never burning out again. Because anything you do in your free time, in your personal life, in your relationship, in your business, in your brand, always fulfill your cup, your heart. It just feels like the things that you would do anyways, even if it wasn't your business.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I feel that so deeply because I'm not afraid to work hard. I did the corporate America thing, single mom thing for 10 years, and I've been in business now for 9 years. And I'll tell you, when you're in alignment, when you're doing work, you said that brings you this aliveness feeling. Alive was my word last year. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't. It's like the way I see it, I just put a story about this on Instagram this morning. Like, I get to have three extraordinary conversations with three extraordinary women. I get to see a client. I get to do brain spotting on my mentor. I get to take my daughter and her best friend to Ninja. I get to spend the morning of my, like, I get to. Now, if you look at my calendar, girl, she's full. She's packed. That's the kind of thing that used to give me anxiety. But when I look at what is on the calendar, I go, oh my God, I get to. And so for the woman who's listening and is like, Simona, I don't think I know what my big vision is that I was born with. How do you encourage women to connect to and unearth what that is if they're feeling disconnected at the moment?
Mm, really good question. And I just wanted to say on what you just mentioned, it's what's in the calendar. It's not how
Yeah.
full is the calendar, but what's in
Yes.
that calendar that determines whether we're going to be burnt out or feeling excited to get to do all those things. I really love how you framed it. But
It's so
yeah,
true. And it's like, I get to, right? That I get
um,
to.
yeah,
I get to.
such a
If I'm in a
huge.
I have to, if I'm in a oh shoot, I have to, I know I'm on the road to overdoing it. If I'm on the I get to train, I can tap into source energy all
Yeah,
day, every day, and we're
yeah,
good. We're
we're
vibrating high,
constantly.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. When we feel disconnected from the vision, so first of all, I feel like even when we're not sure what the vision is, I always looked at it like breadcrumbs throughout our journey. Like, even if you look at my story, my own journey, it could be that suddenly I'm doing something that is so different. So, why did I spend so much time, right? When a pivot is so sudden and so different, it could feel like a disconnection or like you lost time, you wasted time. It's like you could have found it earlier. But the way I see it is everything you do leads to where you're meant to go. I don't see it different experiences as separated, even if at the moment they don't necessarily make sense. In hindsight, they always do. It's always like pieces that come together in the jigsaw. So when I'm very, like, I've never used the word intuitive until a year ago, but I'm very fast at recognizing the signs in my body that I'm out of alignment. And a couple of years ago, I didn't even have the words to express what that was. Now I do. Now I know that's alignment, that's following your intuition. But back then, following more the traditional way of business and learning mostly from men who are always like, go, 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 this is how we do it. I didn't have that type of vocabulary or even way of contemplating on things. So that wasn't an option. It was more of something feels wrong. And luckily for me, I'm not someone who spends a lot of time trying to shut that down. I just go straight to the root cause. I have to identify why. I guess I used to think that was a flaw. I used to get very easily bored of tasks, of jobs. I was a very bad employee. Even if I had a lot of success, even if I was very good at what I did, I was a bad employee because the moment I felt I was bored of a task, there was no way or power on earth you could make me work or do a job or a task I didn't want to do, which obviously in the corporate world didn't go down very well because you had to be the perfect good employee. So I
Yes.
knew I wasn't made for that world because I
Mm,
just cannot do something that doesn't feel right. There's just no
mhm,
power on earth to make me do it. And the moment
mhm.
I feel that it comes to that point, I know it's time to start looking at something else. I know it's a message that is telling me I'm out of alignment. And I feel like it was needed to build the tools and to build the person that I need to be in my next step, in my next phase of my life, of business, of journey. But at some point when it feels disconnected, I know it's time to close that chapter and open a new chapter. And that doesn't immediately, in the moment, doesn't immediately make sense what the next step is. But looking back now, I can see that I've always taken that next step with belief that I will figure it out, with belief that what I was doing until that point no longer feel right. So me dragging onto that moment out of fear of wasting all this time and hanging longer onto something that deep down I can feel has done its time, its course, I just let go. And then I take the next few steps with faith that even if it's a mistake, it's going to be a lesson. I will look at it as a lesson rather than a mistake or a failure. And that's always been my mindset. And I think that's what always got me quicker to figure it out what the next step is. And looking at my vision right now, I feel like it has only landed now what the real vision, what the real soul calling is. But everything
Mm.
until this point felt like the next step. So in the moment when everything was happening, when I did my first brand, it felt like the right thing. It wouldn't necessarily have felt like the thing of my life, but in that moment, I knew I was passionate about. I knew my heart was on fire for that thing. It wasn't a thing I had to do. It wasn't a thing I should have done, but it was there's desire, there's a passion, there's I want to learn. And then when that felt too small or the right time to move on, then it was just time to take the next step and explore and be open minded and just learn. The thing for me is I'm a huge learner. I'm obsessed with learning new things, new tools. I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly talking to people who are ahead of me in business, in life, who have different backgrounds, different stories. I love learning their own perspective and see how they've done what they've done and always try to find the lesson there for me or a change in my perspective, a change in how I could have done things differently, not in a way that the way I did it wasn't good enough, but just explore all the different possibilities. So then when that situation comes again, I have more tools in the toolbox. I have different ways to look at things. So to bring it back to the question, I feel like when we try to find what the thing is, we put so much pressure onto us that it doesn't feel natural. It feels like we have to figure it out. So we put all this pressure and we lose that creativity. We lose that spontaneity. Spontaneity?
Spontaneity.
Exactly.
Is that
And
what
we,
I'm guessing? I'm guessing.
yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
We just lose that authentic self expression and that fun and that aliveness that ultimately should always be the end goal. Because it doesn't matter how successful the business is that we eventually build, if we lost that along the way, then we lost the whole purpose of building what we set off on building. So when we take that pressure off and we take it more as a experiment and more as a learning, and a way of looking at things like I'm either going to succeed or I'm going to learn, and I'm going to learn different ways to look at things and to do things, it becomes more fun, it becomes less pressure, and it becomes easier to find the right thing and to
Hmm.
walk the path until that moment in trust and knowing that anything that you go through in the meantime, it's only going to serve you eventually when you find the actual thing.
Mm, that's so good. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is to follow our desire, the things that make us feel alive in the moment, because that thing leads us to the next thing, leads us to the next thing. So it's not even that you have to have a clear vision right out of the gate. It's that you start to, I feel like women do have to peel layers of conditioning to get to what their core desires are. So I do want to talk to you about that a little bit. But it's like once you peel those layers, it's following your desires and trusting that they're guiding you to the bigger vision if you're not clear of what the vision is now. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yes. And just drop the
Okay.
pressure, bring
Mm.
more fun, bring more romanticizing of the steps, bring more joy, more like I remember one of my first mentors said to me something along those lines, like when you stop questioning how and you fall in love with the journey, And with every step along the way, that's when whatever you do, wherever this journey takes you, it's going to be a success and you will make the most out of it. I'm definitely
Mm.
paraphrasing, I changing it up, but yeah, that was the meaning.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's not like you hear that, but it's absolutely true. Like I remember in the beginning parts of my business where I was mostly just focused on the growth of it instead of how amazing it was that I was sitting with women who were ready to heal and become and rise and enjoying the, creation of my brand and enjoying getting out and sharing it with the world. And now I'm in this place that I really understand that concept and I believe in it wholeheartedly that you have to fall in love with the journey and already know that, first of all, the place that we're in now is enough. It's already extraordinary. And when you really embody that energy, you end up opening up more doors anyways and
Yeah.
inflows the dream clients and the dream collaborations and the money and all the things. But it's like you have to go first in shifting your energy and your focus to like, it is good enough now. I am grateful for where I'm at now. And it's from that energetic that it just gets better and better and better and better, and that compound effect starts to take place. But when you're always striving for something different, I promise you, once you get to whatever you've made up in your mind, whatever the level is, you're just going to want the next thing. And I love studying successful people, and they all say the same thing. It wasn't when I got to the top of the mountain that I felt happy. It was the climb of the mountain where I found meaning and purpose and fulfillment. And those are the things that matter at the end of the day. So let me pivot a little bit here and talk about the barriers that get in specifically women's way of connecting to their desires, connecting to their vision, which is conditioning, right? What a good girl should do. You talked about the shoulds, the conditioning, this is what the responsible thing is to do. This is what a good mom does and sounds like this, right? How has that affected you in your evolution of your brand and business? And how do you overcome? And how do you also encourage your clients to break through those barriers of societal conditioning and programming so that they can unearth the truth of who they are, their gifts, their vision, their authentic expression, all the above?
Oh my gosh, where do I even begin with this? Such a common thing. All the conditioning, all the layers shedding. I feel like for us women, we probably don't even start getting to know our truest self until the time we're at least 30 something. I feel like up until that
Absolutely.
point, we live our life through the lens of all this, different layers society, our parents, the conditioning, the culture where we grew up. I personally grew up in Bulgaria, so I feel like that conditioning is even heavier. All those layers and how you should be the good girl, behave, don't be bold, don't be loud, don't be this, so many layers. Also, a huge thing for us was the way you look. So I personally grew up always feeling like I was never good enough in terms of the way I looked. I always felt like I was overweight. And looking back at pictures now, I'm like, I would pay anything to get that body back. I looked like incredible. But there were so many voices, so many opinions that you just learn to grow up basically seeing yourself as never enough and striving for this perfection, for this status of unachievable perfection and validation from everybody around you to finally feel like you're good enough. Now you're good enough. Now you can go. Now you can do. And so you end up spending so much time chasing that moment, which never comes because you're expecting it from people for whom it never came either, because they never realized it's them to give it to themselves and then showcase and model that behavior for the children who come after them. So I feel like we are the generation who takes that power back and we break all those patterns and all those conditionings and we start rewriting and reparenting ourselves first, so then we can model that for our own children. And as a mom of two girls, I feel like that is such a huge thing, and I'm so dedicated, and there's so many sheddings and layers that I'm still dropping. I'm still, every time I get to shed one layer, there's another one and there's another one. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like a never ending journey, but I'm committed to it. Even if it's a journey over a lifetime, I'm committed to shed as many layers as I can and then pass as little as possible to my girls to then continue, I guess, the work of shedding the layers.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. So, as we're shedding these layers and we are revealing the truth of who we are and our gifts, why is it important to have a powerful brand?
Mm, yeah, that's such a good question. So I feel like for us, visionary women with a good heart, with a big heart, with a soul-led mission, we're not here just for the money. We never are here just for the money. Because if it was, we wouldn't be on this mission. We would just be staying comfortable in our, jobs, 9 to 5 jobs, and we will just having the paycheck and we'll be switching off and we will be just growing that career. But the women who usually leave that security and safety to pursue calling of their soul, something so big that they're willing to go through the whole roller coaster of owning a business, because it's never straightforward, right? Once you're in it, you know it's never straightforward. There's so many downs, but there are also so many ups, and the ups are a lot higher than the ups in a normal career, because the reward is so much bigger knowing that you're pursuing your heart's desire, you're pursuing your own truth, your own fullest self-expression. So to have a powerful brand, I feel like it's always the case of having a very powerful embodiment first of the brand you want to embody, of the brand you want to build. Because yes, you can build an incredible brand. You can put out the bells and whistles and build something very shiny and very beautiful and very luxuriously looking. But ultimately, the real embodiment of luxury, of a mission based brand, it always comes down as the byproduct of the person leading it, as the byproduct of the visionary who dreamt that dream and brought it to life. So the first thing I always do with my clients is really tap deep into that big scary dream that they have in their heart, but they know it is the calling they always felt. And a very common thing that happens is visionary women come to me and they say, I have this huge vision and I want you to help me bring it to life and create something very luxurious, very different, very extraordinary, that is based on, extraordinary customer experience, extraordinary moments, romanticizing the whole journey, the way my clients see the brand from the first moment they come to interact with the brand. And the moment we start mapping a strategy that is very much custom based to each client, then the first reaction is, okay, maybe that will be the next thing. Maybe we can focus on something smaller. Because when you know you have a big vision and you really start embodying that vision and you declare what that vision is out loud and you commit to it and you work with another visionary to bring it to life, you realize the magnitude of the vision requires a huge step as well. So often that, brings some fears. And in women, especially, we feel like maybe I'm not ready yet to embody that big vision. Maybe I should do some smaller steps first, some smaller things until I become ready for that big vision. But the thing is, we become ready by doing the thing, by devoting ourselves to the mission. We become ready. We become the leader who leads that big, bold brand, that big, bold vision, by doing the steps, by putting in the reps every day, by showing up as the leader who leads that big, bold brand, big, bold vision. And so to bring you back to your question, I feel like the big, luxurious, beautiful brand, it's always the extent of the visionary. It's always the extent of the leader who is embodying what they're here to bring to life.
We are the brand. We are
We are.
the embodiment of the brand. Now, where does the heart mission, the soul calling meet luxury branding? What's that intersection for you?
So for me, I feel like luxury is such a misunderstood topic, and very often it's painted in all different ways that are not necessarily positives, and most of the times is painted in that way by people who don't truly understand luxury, who feel like luxury is so unattainable that they choose to just paint it as something bad just to explain to themselves why it's out of reach, make themselves feel better that it's something so unattainable. So for the longest time, I feel like I had this secret life of luxury that I was so afraid to bring, into my coaching, into my business strategy business, because I felt that if I show the way I live my life, if I show the way I make certain decisions in my lifestyle, in my personal life, I would instantly feel unrelatable, or I would instantly be labeled as somebody superficial, somebody who is in just for the money. And so I feel like for me to fully embody my vision, my soul calling, that was the next step that I had to do. I had to really sit with this feeling of what does it mean to lead a luxury business? What does it mean to embody the luxury that I've always embodied in my personal life, but was so scared to be seen as a snob, as somebody snobbish who, it's unrealistic in certain things. And so the thing is, the way I look at luxury, it's far beyond from the price tag. It's far beyond the handbag. And I feel like, especially in the coaching space, there's so many posts out there that either say luxury is never the handbag, it's never this, it's just the coffee, it's just having the freedom, or luxury is something else. And we always feel the need to justify what luxury is and paint a picture and deny all the other things that we don't agree with. But there's always so much justification, there's always so much uncomfortable feeling about talking about it, about being open, about showing it, about just embracing the ultimate freedom of seeing luxury the way we see it. So the way I see it, it's the ultimate freedom of embodying personal choices, the things that
Mm.
make our heart, feel joy, feel alive. It's the ultimate art of transcendence between how we show up as an artist in our life, how we show up as the artist of our brand. And I feel like when we adopt this idea of being the artist who is creating the biggest, boldest, most beautiful masterpiece of our life, of our work, that's when we truly embrace luxury as a way of living. That's when we truly romanticize every single aspect of our life. And then it transcends the need to put any labels. It transcends the need to, declare, is it the handbag or is it the coffee? It becomes everything and anything and whatever we feel. And that is the ultimate luxury, to not even need to put a label on the things we choose and we embody and we adopt in our life.
Oh, that is freaking giving me the goosebumps, girl. Yes, yes. Like, number one, luxury is our birthright as women,
Yes.
period. And you get to define what that is. And it gets to be like mix match too. Like, I feel like a lot of women feel like they have to choose a lane, right? Like, I'm either
Yeah.
a healer or I'm a luxury designer. It's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. We are such complex beings. Like, we get to evolve and change minute by minute, day by day. You can show up in this version of luxury one day. Maybe it is your clothes and your handbag and your car. And the next day you can wear the comfiest sweatpants, no makeup, the juiciest moisturizer, and you're going to such a beautiful yoga class. And the next day it's the pillows that you get to like sink into with the people that you love in a good book. Like, it's, you don't have to choose one identity. Luxury gets to be a collection of the things that feel extraordinary for you. And sometimes I feel like we get bucketed. Like I either have to dress fancy all the time or be casual. I have to be a healer and it's like, what if I'm all those things? Like that's something I've personally always struggled with. Like if you were to follow me day to day, it's like one day I'm dressed up like this and the next 3 days, no makeup, greasy hair, sweats, Uggs, same Brooke though, same energy, you know? And so I love the way that you articulated that. It's about you giving yourself full permission to embody all of your personal choices.
Yeah. And drop any need to justify, explain, or relate, or give explanations of why you chose that.
Oh my God.
And
Something funny just came to mind. Like, I drive a Range Rover, but wear socks with holes in them.
exactly, you don't need to justify why.
And my husband is always like, why don't we have a higher standard for the undergarments here? What is going on? We have the high standard for the vehicle, but we're rocking old socks. And I'm like, I can't explain it. I don't know. It just doesn't matter to me what my socks look like as long as they feel comfy. So if that isn't the perfect example of just like, being all out authentic, I don't know what is, but whatever your combination is, girl, that's what matters most is that you unapologetically rock it. I
And just
love
to
it.
try, I wanted to add that the way I see it in a business, it's really relating it to the artistry. When visionary women see themselves as the artist, they no longer try to fit into this standard commodity based marketing because they're not a commodity. The luxury part comes into seeing ourselves as a leader, as a healer, as a visionary, as a brand builder, as an apologetic woman here to bring a huge mission to life. When we start seeing ourselves as the artist, then we really dedicate this devotion into the artistry, into the craftsmanship. And this is where the levels of luxury into a brand of any type of visionary brand comes in, is to really dial down on the artistry of the unique gifts, because we're so much closer to an haute couture luxury experience than to a commodity product. There's no way you can explain us, sell us, or market us in a way that works for a product. We're just luxury experiences, unique and rare of our own.
Oh, that's so good. All right, my beautiful friend, for the mama that's listening that cannot wait to get to know you more, who maybe has a big vision on her heart and she's ready to get to work, where can the listener connect more with you and your brand?
Yes, so they can find me on Instagram at I am Simona Vateva. There's also my business account on Instagram, Visionaire Atelier, and my website, which should be ready very soon. It's visionaireatelier.com.
Fabulous. And we will link all of those in the show notes. Thank you so much, my love, for bringing your wisdom and your beautiful inspiration to the show. This has been so much fun.
Thank you so much. Mwah.
Mwah. And to the listener, we will see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Hey, babe, if you made it to this part of the show, I am so freaking happy for you. That means that you are dead serious about healing, revealing, and rising. And just by showing up for yourself in this way, you are sending a beautiful message to yourself and to the universe that you matter, that you are ready for more. And so don't be surprised if things start to flow your way. I would so appreciate it if you would rate and review the podcast on Apple and Spotify. The more reviews that we have, the more that it gets into the heads and hearts of more high-achieving, high-performing working mamas. Also, we love to get your feedback, so share with us what's landing. You can either DM me on Instagram, I'm at Brooke Jean unPerfected, or you can share a clip that really landed and tag me in it. I want this to be the most extraordinary co-creation where we are in this together, seeing what is possible for women worldwide. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourselves and therefore each other.